Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
A Texas mother put this ad in the local newspaper. Teenager for sale. Comes equipped with rolling eyes, deep sighs, and sarcastic comments. Plays video games and texts 200 words per minute. No reasonable offer will be refused. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America on a Tuesday. A blustery Tuesday. Wheels is back. Hello, hello. And a good morning to you as we turn the microphone on. It always helps. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on right now. Don't forget to stop in. And then also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
You the man.
I am. I figured I'd do it on this windy but nice morning.
All right.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's good to have you back, Wheels. Thank you for returning. I mean, you could have been seal meal up on the coast.
Oh, good grief.
Okay.
I know. I'm just glad to be back home.
All right, buddy. Take care. Time for our weather, and the weather brought to you, of course, by our friends at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Right there. You can't miss it if you were blind. No. Burley Paul Highway, easy to find. And the number to call, 2-678-3122. I'm spring bound. I'm not going to change my attitude even after all the snow yesterday. Spring is here. They've got all the tools over there at K&R Rental, power rakes, rototillers, lawnmowers, everything. You need equipment, they've got it for you at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Roger and the crew at K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Hold on to your hats because it's going to be another windy one. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a high wind advisory for today. Going to last until about 9 o'clock tonight. Mostly sunny skies, however, with a high of 47. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, increasing to 30 miles an hour by the afternoon. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies, low of about 29. Still going to be breezy. Hopefully those winds are going to be dying down just a little bit. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, relatively calm. High of 56, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 37. By Thursday, clouds are rolling in, bringing upon it some precipitation possibly. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 60. And then for Friday, as we kick off the weekend, mostly sunny and a high of 62. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
And thank you very much, Gina. Brought to everybody by K&R Rental. They get there early in the morning, 7 o'clock. They open the doors at K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway. Number to call, 678-3122. You stop in or see them at K&R Rental. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by just for a few moments because I want to remind everybody about Thursday being sale day at the Burley Livestock Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy at the sale that works for you. That's they do. And the number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. And don't forget sale time Thursday at 10:30. Also, real quick, before we take our first call, Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, they can clean anything and everything, and they do. They are the world's best cleaners. And don't just chuck those coats and sweaters and everything else for wintertime wear into the closet or the drawer. They can clean them and have them ready to go for next fall. Take them in right now. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, and they are simply the best. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Hello, Tony.
I just got off the phone. I called CSI about this gender-neutral bathroom deal.
Uh-huh.
And the answer that I got was, well, it's a changing world, and that's the way it is. And I told him, I says, I can't see men, women, gays, lesbians, transgenders using the same bathroom. So, you know what their attitude is there.
A changing world.
I think I can't see the priests or pastors of churches putting up with this kind of stuff. They've got a lot of power that they can use, and I don't think they realize it.
That's right. I don't see why a changing world has to go lower and lower in a degeneration and a lowerment of values and society acceptance. I just absolutely am appalled that we have caved in to an extreme minority of voices. And when I say minority, we're talking less than 0.5%. And the demands upon accepting a perverted lifestyle absolutely does not make any sense to me, nor does it make me happy as a taxpayer, and I'll bet you feel the same way.
Yeah, I told him, I says, at my age, I says, I've never heard of anything like this ever happening here in Twin Falls. I says, I left California years ago because I saw the way it was going. Now I see it happening right here. And, as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay. I don't want to support this kind of garbage.
Well, one of the quotes that CSI made in the paper the other day is they said, quote, we've had a few students, not a lot, who have expressed not feeling comfortable in entering either gender male or female bathrooms. You know what? I couldn't care less. If we don't get back to the basics of two genders, male and female, and forget all this other idiocy and absolute lunacy, our country is going to be doomed with no values left whatsoever.
Well, you know what's going to happen. I can predict what's going to happen. The straight students are not going to use the bathrooms. All you're going to see is gays, lesbians, and these oddballs going in there, and there's going to be problems.
Yeah. Our whole society is based upon chaos right now. Tear it apart, destroy any values, destroy any family value normalcy, and I'm going to do all I can on this program to fight it, Tony. But I'm so glad you brought it up because as taxpayers and a small, very conservative area, it used to be, and listening to this kind of garbage come out of CSI, I will fight it and I will stand against it as long as I can.
Well, we've got Trump behind us now, so I think the churches can get involved with it.
Tony, you're a good man. I wish there were about 100 more like you. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right,
Bye.
buddy. Thank you very much. He's right. When I read that story in the paper, CSI is considering gender-neutral restrooms. Why cave? Really, why cave? And especially when they said, well, we've had a few students express their feelings. And yet, when they cave, it all amounts to money that has to be spent. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends, and they are at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They are open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, and they do have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. I thought we were going to start the transition to cooling, but after yesterday, they've got all your heating needs, too. I'm telling you, that was a little chilly, still is. Don't forget, give them a call or stop in at the best. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Absolutely. By the way, also, next week, underline this, next week on the 26th, not this week, next week, lunch bunch at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland and Burley. Oh, they've got a menu, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime, all the time. Absolutely phenomenal. You got to go in and try the co-reactor pancake breakfast. It's something new on the menu. You're going to love it. And don't forget, they've got another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, and they're located at 611 North Overland and Burley, and the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about some of the ways that normalcy and accepted morals have been changed and basically thrown on the ground and stomped on, and now we have to worry about the gender-neutral bathrooms? There is no such thing. There is no such thing as gender-neutral. You are, or you are not. And I'm going to be very hardline about this, as some are, but most are caving because of the pressure by a minimal amount of numbers and complaints, but I will not cave in, and we will remain firm. Like in New York City, the city itself, like over, I think it's now up to 61 preferred genders. Biology teachers must be sitting there just shaking their head going, how could our society get so darn dumb? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. I'd like to visit with you. Don't forget, vote May 15th for Kevin Williams running for State Representative District 27. Kevin is pro-Second Amendment. Kevin is pro-teacher support and pro-education, and he is very supportive of our police and our agricultural economy. Fresh ideas, fresh new ideas for a stronger, more productive Idaho, paid for by Kevin Williams for State Representative District 27. Kevin Williams, Treasurer. Your turn. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to also say a big thank you to Holly and the crew over at Pomerell Place. You know, they really offer a great place for senior living. And it offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably. All you need to do is call and find out more, 677-8212, Pomerell Place, and they're located at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Please take the time and effort to find out more. Give them a call, 677-8212, Pomerell Place. All right, your turn. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I hate to say this, I really do, but I'm cringing. Today is Tax Day USA. A day to pay your good, hard-earned money to the IRS that has been proven to be liars and very untrustworthy, and also your money then going to a government that will spend your money gleefully and wildly, like on projects of hamsters on treadmills. So here we are today, where we just possibly, and this drives me nuts, caller, I'll be right there. we just possibly, underline that word, averted a nuclear war, and our media is spending 95% of its time on the likes of porn star Stormy Daniels and a perhaps shady lawyer, James Cohen. What is going on in this country? Common sense is hard to find. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, isn't it amazing when Bill Clinton was in office and, I can't remember the one gal's name that he raped and molested.
Monica Lewinsky.
No, the other gal.
Oh, the one down in Georgia. Yeah, I know who you mean.
One that was betrayed to be you drag a $5 bill through a trailer park,
Yeah, but I'll tell you something. I don't mean this to be facetious, but of all the allegations, there were many more.
Yes, there were. But anyway, she was considered to be a bad woman, a prostitute.
Yeah.
Basically, is what they. And now this one that is a prostitute is a victim.
Uh-huh.
Tell me how this works. That's the line of work she went into. That's what she done. Yet she's a victim.
Yeah, Doug, you know as well as I do, more so than ever before in our nation's troubled times, that it's going just like the Bible said it would. What is considered good is now considered evil. What is considered evil is now considered good.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's what's happening, and it takes good people to stand up. That's what happened in the Crusades.
Yeah.
Against Muslims. The good people finally started standing up, and look what happened.
I had, and I got to share this with you, I had a comment given to me, it's been 2 weeks ago or so. Somebody came up, a good friend, he didn't say it maliciously or anything, but he said, why do you keep on butting your head against the wall of certain subjects where you know you're going to lose? And I looked at him and I said, wait a minute, why am I going to lose? There is a right and a wrong and a black and a white on every issue, and I'm never going to weaken. I'm never going to mold myself into what they want me to say or do, and so I'm going to keep on fighting. I think all of us should.
Exactly. And I call it selling your soul to the devil when you give in.
Yeah.
When you give up and say that wrong is right, that's when you sell your soul to the devil.
And you know what really bothers me the most is, Doug, you are always very outspoken, and I respect that more than you'll ever know, as are most of my listeners that call in. But the fact is, there's too many people that have just accepted cowardice. I don't want to make my neighbors mad. My neighbors might hear me on the radio. I can't say that. They've turned into blatant cowards.
Yes, and I've had maybe one or two customers come in and, and not really mad at me or anything, but they disagreed with me here, and we talked about it, and they left, and they've come back and done more business with me.
Yeah.
And I respect them. And I've had a lot of customers come in and say, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're saying. Thank you for doing what you do for the senior center.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. In accordance with that, what you just said, I do not ever mean to infer that I get more negativity than I do positivity. We get an amazing amount of emails from people all over the state of Idaho, and for that matter, the country, Indiana, Florida, Texas, that listen on the internet service, and they applaud us for having the backbone and the spine to stand up.
And I do too. And what's going on with Comey?
Yeah.
He has said that he did leak confidential information. Okay, isn't leaking a crime? Why can't he be indicted right now?
There are so many things. If I were James Comey, and I am not going to profess to you that I know everything about this situation, and I'll say this, Doug, and I mean this out of respect, nor do you or anybody in the country knows what really went on or what's possibly going to come down the pike in the next couple of months. But if I were James Comey, studying the situation as it is today, I think I would shut up.
Yeah, because what you say can and will be used, and it's recorded so they can bring it back up and say, no, you said this right here.
You got it, buddy. Hey, I got to pay some bills.
You betcha. Hey, everybody, let's do what we can for our senior center.
All right.
Pray for our country and our president.
Boy, that is a great way to wrap it up and say thank you. You betcha, I agree with you. Hey, don't forget our friends at Dino Septic Service. And, of course, they do a job that you and I don't want to do. No, you don't want to be out there pumping septic tanks. No, you don't want to be out there having to get rid of the liquid waste removal. Ooh, no, you don't want sewer and sink drain lines clean. You don't want to do that, but they do. And they do a wonderful job. Dino Septic Service, fast, fair, friendly service. Call them at 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638. They are the best at what they do, Dino Septic Service. And they've got that great big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino Septic Service. Don't forget to our friends with Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort. Wheels, I'm getting a little bit of, kind of a puffy line. I know that's hard to understand, but it just sounds a little bit distorted over there. So if you kind of check on it and let me know if we're coming in okay. Airvana is defined as the ultimate level of comfort that you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Caller, I'll be right there. And I want to remind everybody, May 15th, re-elect Tim Darrington as Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. Tim knows that Cassia County has a lot to offer with its heritage and history, and he wants to help move the county forward. Tim Darrington has been very involved in updating county policy, reimbursement, and updating Cassia's software. He wants to keep on working for you. Re-elect Tim Darrington as Cassia County Commissioner, District 3, May 15th. Paid for by Darrington for Commissioner, Gail Erickson, Treasurer. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Ted.
Hello.
You know, when we were kids, I'm a little bit older than you, but I think it was the same thing when you went to school in your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. You stood up in the morning and did the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Every morning, you faced that flag, and you learned to respect that flag. And then we have things nowadays where there is no respect for the Pledge of Allegiance or the flag. And we have one guy in particular, his name is James Comey, that is calling the President of the United States a liar. And all of these foul things that he has said about the President, his eyes are too close together, things like that.
Yeah.
That is so far off the rail, isn't it?
Well, let's be fair to a point. And when I say this, and caller number 2, don't hang up, I'll be right there. I did not like Obama. I absolutely despised the man on his politics and also his personal items that he brought forth. I did not like Barack Obama, but I don't think I ever really went into anything about his race or never about his family, anything like that. And now with Trump, anything and everything is fair game, and I'm absolutely sick of how the left is twisting everything to make it negative all the time, 24 hours a day.
It used to be if you were running for student government or something like that, you respected the other person. And when they beat you out, so to speak, you congratulated them and told them you would stand behind them.
Yeah.
Now, that is not a fact nowadays. I mean, ever since President Trump has been in office, we've had nothing but bad things to say about him on the media.
Yeah.
Now they found a new whipping boy, and that's Sean Hannity, because he is a strong voice in conservatism.
And a lot of conservatives, including myself, had better watch that happening. And when I say happening, what's going on with Sean Hannity, because it's going to have ramifications and repercussions, I think, for all of conservative radio. Keith, a good morning to you and your lovely wife. Have a great day. I've got to pay some bills quick and then get that other caller.
You have a wonderful day.
God bless. Thank you very much. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget our dear friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, they are good. Nick Greenwell and the rest of the folks, they will help you. Don't forget, give them a call if you got aches and pains, recovering from surgery or an accident. My goodness, they can help you get back to being you. The number to call, 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. To go to the best and have them help you, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Really, really top-notch folks. Hey, by the way, don't you forget, too, if you get a good horse, you better ride it and take care of it. Well, when you get a great representative for the state of Idaho representing District 27, keep him. Re-elect Fred Wood, District 27 on May 15th. Fred Wood, integrity serving you, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood. Steve Westfall, treasurer. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. For $5 you can get the best complete meal anywhere in town at the senior center on South Overland. Today we're going to have finger steaks and all the trimmings. I invite everybody to come on out and join us. We need your help.
Well, Joe, I appreciate that. It is a wonderful place to visit. It's a wonderful place to eat and meet your friends. Thank you at the Senior Junction, Joe Taylor. What a good guy. Joe, we'll send him over to you.
All right.
All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good day, even though it's windy.
Okay, Joe, hold on. Hold on. There you go.
Yeah, hold on to everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Leave nothing in doubt. I want to remind everybody, Idaho needs Nonini. Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor. Vote May 15th for proven effective conservative leadership. Bob Nonini has 25 years' experience in local and state Republican politics. He believes in quality, affordable health care and, of course, parental choice and education. Wants to create a positive business climate with limited government involvement. Vote for Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor on May 15th, paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini, Lieutenant Governor, Treasurer R. Scott Hogue. All right, your turn. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. When you look at, and I dare somebody to tell me I'm wrong on this, but when you look at the complexion of what America is today, now be honest with yourself. We are at, I think, the worst time in our nation's history for chaos and discord. Now, I know that there's been a lot of times that have been tumultuous and everything. I understand that. But think about right now, the tearing of the fabric of America. There used to be a co-joining of the left and the right and a mutual admiration, love, and respect for this country, but I don't see that anymore. I mean, we're talking about people that want to have absolutely no borders. We're talking about a left that doesn't have any respect for the law and about having things done in a legal fashion. We're talking about a state that gives more priority and protection to illegal aliens than they do their own citizenry, California. We're talking about our police that are murdered on the job, trying to protect you and I. We're talking about a sick lifestyle with the LGBT, demanding that they want more rights than citizens in this country already have. We're talking of weapons from other countries that are pointed at you and me to kill us. And last but not least, in a list that could go on, and I treat this next one as number one, we have no respect for God anymore. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, could we shift gears a little bit?
I think you already did.
Oh, I drive around Cassia County quite often, and especially in town. I think our railroad crossings are a disgrace to the railroad, to the city of Burley, to the county of Cassia. I think it's terrible. I can't understand why they can't get a smooth crossing.
Hey, Bob, let me ask you a question, and I'm going to show a little bit of not understanding the subject matter, so help me on this. A lot of towns and communities have taken some kind of a plating. I don't know what it's called. Please don't hold me to the terminology. And they've laid it down on the tracks so that it goes down past the tracks, but it makes it so much smoother to go across the railroad tracks. Why can't that be done in almost all instances? I can think of exactly what you're talking about. The other day, pulling a horse trailer with my horses inside, I thought I felt like a human basketball. It's disgusting.
It's more than double dribble, Zeb. It is absolutely terrible.
Well, what's so expensive, if you will, to putting that plating down on these railroad crossings? What do you know about it?
I don't know anything about it except there's got to be a better way or a different way or something.
Well, I agree with you that I can think of about at least 7 or 8 different railroad crossings right now where if you don't slow down and take your time, you're going to do a lot of damage to your tires, and you might even hit your head right through the roof.
Well, I think it's just something that really needs to be looked into. I don't know who's responsible. Probably Mr. Nobody is responsible.
Yeah. But you bring up a very valid point.
Have a good day, Zeb.
All right, Bob, I appreciate it. Bob brings up a very good point, and I'll open that up to anybody to respond if they have adequate information about what's really going on. I do not. We need to get that dial tone off. There we go. But I will say that there are some railroad crossings. I was on one yesterday where you had to literally go about 3 miles, 2 miles an hour over that thing, or you'd jiggle the whole outfit almost right off the road. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. I want to remind everybody about Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with 1 and 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, Eli, and their Nampa location. I mean, we're talking all the equipment rentals. We're talking all the retail equipment sales. We're talking about having all the Bobcat excavators. Oh, you need one, but you've never driven one? Hey, they'll teach you. They got a big sandbox right out behind. All shapes and sizes available for you. Berry Equipment and Rental. Highway 30 in Burley, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and in Nampa. Berry Equipment and Rental, serving you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. I appreciate what Bob brought up because I spent 12 years on the Burley Highway District Commission, and the railroad was always an issue. And one of the issues was the crossings. When they got old and, really rough and everything and needed to be replaced, the railroad refused to use concrete, between the rails. They insisted on putting railroad ties back in, which wear down and cause that problem you're talking about. And so it's up to the highway districts or whatever to take care of that themselves. In other words, the railroad says, my train goes down those tracks, and whether you cross it or not, we don't care.
Well, wait a minute.
That's just about the attitude they have.
Yeah, Keith, wait a minute. Let me ask some questions here. And I don't care. I don't care if I don't know about a subject. I'll admit it. And right now, I do not know all about a subject like this. Is it because of the railroad right-of-way on that crossing? Do they bear the responsibility for making it more acceptable for crossing traffic?
I don't think this railroad does. I thought the Union Pacific was very, very good to work with the community, but this Eastern Idaho Railroad, and we had many, many problems, and it may have improved, but they did not want to pay for the cement crossing there, which made it a lot smoother and lasted a lot longer.
Yeah. What about...
They just wanted to care about how their train ran down the track.
What about the plating? And for lack of better terminology, I'll use that phrase. The plating that is used on some crossings. It looks like there's kind of an insert they drop in there to fill the space and the void to make it more smooth. Do you know anything about that?
No, I really don't, because the crossings that I was privileged to know about were country, where you didn't have a lot of traffic, but you had a lot of weight. You know, big trucks going across them and that sort of thing.
I see.
And so the cement lasts so much longer. That's the approach, to it. And it made it a lot smoother, and you'll notice that some of the newer ones that have been put in, like in the city of Burley, are a lot smoother, and that's because the city paid for it.
Well,
not because of this railroad.
I'm going to pursue this a little bit and find out more, but there again, there's a little job for you and the rest of the listeners. Find out as much as you can, and if we need to put the pressure on somebody, you know I will. So find out as much as you can, Keith, let me know, and we'll start making a frontal assault on trying to get this figured out.
Okay, if they have any questions about it, they may call the Burley Highway District and ask for the supervisor.
Well, we'll start from there and then get a report, get it back to me, and we'll put a segment on the air, because I agree with Bob when he called a little bit ago. Some of those crossings, you'd be better off bouncing a basketball. It's terrible, terrible. I agree with you.
Yes, it has, but there has been some improvements as of late. And I will check with the highway district, and maybe you could have them come on there.
Okay, I would love to. Anybody's fair game on my program. I don't care who it is.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Don't forget, Airvana defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. When you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit them online, ramseysonline.com. Oh, let's take another. Jerry Brown. Governor, and I use that terminology not with respect to him at all, because I think he denigrates the name. Governor of California, absolutely one of the sleaziest guys that's ever held that position. You know, Jerry Brown is absolutely going against anything and everything that this country stands for, with a saying that sanctuary state policies will prevail in the state of California, and that it's going to be an open house. Come one, come all. We don't care if you're a rapist, a murderer. We don't care. We'll hide you. I think this is so despicable. Governor Jerry Brown, he is absolutely one of the easiest men in the country to dislike. And he told the government and the Trump administration, oh, yeah, you want some of our National Guard down on the border? Okay, but, we'll send 450 or so. But they can't do anything. What? Yeah, we'll let you have them, but they can't do anything. They can't even fuel up a truck. But they'll just stand there and do nothing. This is the incompetency and the idiocy of so-called leadership in California. A complete troublemaker, Governor Jerry Brown, that needs to be impeached and replaced now. I'm going to ask my good friend Wheels over at the station to play this good word for our dear friend Fred Wood, District 27.
Real
re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here are Fred's values on our Constitution.
Zeb, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution are the basis for our individual liberties and freedoms in our country. I will do everything possible to secure our rights of free speech, gun ownership, privacy rights, and to uphold the 10th Amendment to the Constitution preserving Idaho's state sovereignty.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
I'll tell you, Wheels, it's good to have you back, old buddy. You just sit there and bask in the radiance of being back in the studio, okay?
Well, I definitely am, sir. And,
Okay.
It's nice to hear something different for once.
You're going to hear a lot of things different on this program. Hey, it's time for the weather forecast right now, brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And don't forget, they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call for a hearing screening, 312-0957. They serve people with hearing loss of all ages and their families, and they can and they will help you. Call them today, 312-0957. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Hold on to your hats because it's going to be another windy one. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a high wind advisory for today. Going to last until about 9 o'clock tonight. Mostly sunny skies, however, with a high of 47. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, increasing to 30 miles an hour by the afternoon. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies, low of about 29. Still going to be breezy. Hopefully those winds are going to be dying down just a little bit. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, relatively calm. High of 56, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 37. By Thursday, clouds are rolling in, bringing upon it some precipitation possibly. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 60. And then for Friday, as we kick off the weekend, mostly sunny and a high of 62. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I can take the high of 62 and sunny, but man, I don't chase well. You know, if my hat blows off, it's all yours because I don't run after them really good. Hey, our weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell. Absolutely, you can trust your hearing health to Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. The number to call to make an appointment, 312-0957. You call them today. Okay, what else is in the news? My aunt called me. I have one left living relative back in Wisconsin, and she called me. My Aunt Miriam called me this morning and wanted me to know that in her now hometown, she moved from Fort Atkinson over to Watertown. It's about 25 miles away. 9 inches of snow. She said that she had the next door neighbor over there trying to get her plowed out. Drifts 3.5 feet high in some instances, 9 inches of snow. And we had a long conversation about global warming and Al Gore, and my aunt doesn't hold back any of the words as far as what she thinks of global warming, climate change, and Al Gore, and it was a very interesting conversation, to say the least. 9 inches of snow back in Watertown, Wisconsin. Woo-hoo. I'm glad I'm not there. By the way, did you also hear about Colin Kaepernick? I know I hate talking about this kid. He's not a kid. I mean, he's a adult that absolutely is not thinking and not trying to adhere to the norms of society and try to be respectful. That's why he caused all the problems with the 49ers and has no football team to play for right now. But anyway, I really found it interesting that the company called Adidas, you know, the footwear, etc., Adidas made a statement yesterday that if Colin Kaepernick gets a pro team to play for this coming fall, they, Adidas, will go ahead and they will sponsor him. They will endorse him. You know, I mean this. I hope the kid has had his talents diminish. I hope the kid is going to have to look at some other of the opportunities that might avail themselves to him and go into another line of work. I do not want to see him on a football field. I do not want to see him get the praise or the accolades as being perhaps again a star athlete. I have that much animosity against him. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi. I just was calling to give my sympathies to your aunt in Wisconsin. I lived there for 1 year with my aunt and uncle up in Superior, on Lake Superior.
Ooh.
And on Good Friday, we had so much snow that my uncle had to climb out an upstairs window to get down to shovel off the sidewalk.
I believe it. I've been there. I've done that. I've seen it happen. I've been a living witness to it. And living up by Lake Superior, my dear sweet lady that is a friend of this program, that is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, one of the coldest places on earth.
I agree, but it was one of the most fun winters I ever had, even coming from Idaho. We really had snow, real snow.
Well, if you're talking...
My uncle was pretty exasperated that Easter morning.
You know, and
he was not using the language that he should have been.
Oh, really? Did he say nasty things like "gully gee whiz"?
Yeah, because we were even late for church, and he sang in the choir. Anyway, my Wisconsin episodes are just endless, and I love that part of the world.
Well, I tell you what, you've got to be a hearty soul to live back there in the wintertime all over Wisconsin, and especially by the Great Lakes. It can get a four-letter word, ugly.
Anyway, that was my experience with that part of the world, and everybody should go there once. Maybe not even once.
Go there once. Okay, Chris, God bless you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Go there once. No, I've seen some pretty tragic winters in the Midwest, and when I was going to college up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and while I was still living there, I can remember the one winter, and it was about a week before Christmas back in Wisconsin, that it snowed so long and so deep that my dad and his brother and my other uncle, they had to shovel tunnels. I'm not exaggerating this because I think our family album still has some of those pictures. They had to shovel tunnels to get to the barn to feed the livestock. It was something else. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One other quick story about James Comey, former FBI director, and we were talking about this with Doug just a little bit ago this morning. This man trying to sell a book. Let's be really honest. Comey right now, for as much as he's on TV, or you read about him in the newspaper, or you hear him on the radio, he's only out there for one purpose right now, and that's to hawk the selling of a book, his book. And James Comey has made some absolutely ridiculously stupid statements like, I tried to be outside of politics. What? Here is a guy that absolutely jaded the political process. Here is a guy that absolutely hated Donald Trump. Here is a guy that ignored anything and everything that Hillary had to line up as far as unlawful procedures. And here's a guy that dedicated going after Trump and trying to get him impeached right now. And he said something dumb like, I tried to be outside of politics. Whew, James Comey. He's a special breed of cat. Hey, I want to remind you about our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They are so good and so helpful, and they've got a great big spring tire sale going on right now. You can roll into spring safely with the best of tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Tires are on sale like the Ultra Z900 for your passenger cars, ultimate in tire technology, and boy, I mean, you can ride safely on those. They've got them all right now on sale for you. Stop in, and don't forget the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Hey, you better stop in and see Lane and Rupert today. Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you. Well, with my old compadre, my old saddle sidekick over there at the main studios, we're going to listen to this word for Tommy Ahlquist, and then Wheels is going to take us up to CBS News. Wheels, take it away. Good morning, and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch on a Tuesday, April 17th. Windy, blustery. Good morning. Our major sponsor, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being and acting and feeling like you. Oh, my goodness, we've got a lot to talk about, but right now we also want to talk about our friends at Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Way Services, don't forget they have all the dumpsters in various sizes. All you need to do to clean out your garage, your basement, or in my case, my office, put it by the back window and pitch and throw. I mean, fill it up. They got them in various sizes. They will deliver them to you. You fill it up, they'll come and get it. Call them today. Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. Also want to acknowledge the fact that Airvana, or Airvana, whichever you prefer, is the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. When you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana, just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them at ramseysonline.com. Roger Morley wants to have your vote. Re-elect Roger Morley for Jerome County Commissioner, District 3 on May 15th. Roger has always said, yes, we can, when it comes to being pro-Jerome County. He understands local folks and local problems and wants to continue to work for Jerome County with a pro-jobs, pro-agriculture, pro-people attitude. Re-elect Roger Morley, District 3 Jerome County Commissioner on May 15th, paid for by the Committee to Re-elect Roger Morley, Jerome County Commissioner, Lorraine Morley, Treasurer. Absolutely. I think I've got one more good word that I need to get in here, and then we will move right along to our guest that is waiting patiently on the other end of the line. And our other good word is, of course, Kent Searle wants your vote to become District 3 Cassia County Commissioner on May 15th. Kent Searle, lifelong resident of Cassia County, has the experience of being a farmer, and he serves you as an EMT and a first responder, and has gained your trust in serving the Ag Advisory Committee and, of course, the Gateway Powerline Committee. Kent Searle says, hey, together we can make Cassia County even better. Kent Searle for District 3 Cassia County Commissioner. Vote May 15th. And this message paid for by the committee to elect Kent Searle as Cassia County Commissioner, Dan Gammon, Treasurer. Wow, I've kept her waiting long enough. Good morning, Rachel Alexander. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for asking.
You know, Rachel, you do a great job of writing for the stream, and I got to tell you that this story that came out yesterday about Chick-fil-A being underneath a pathetic attack by a left-wing nut that writes for the New Yorker magazine, bring my audience up to speed on what's happening here. I commented briefly on it yesterday, but I want to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, basically this writer for the New Yorker named Dan Pippenbring wrote this article called Chick-fil-A's Creepy Infiltration of New York City. And in it, he just goes off nonstop on everything that he thinks is wrong with Chick-fil-A and why it shouldn't be in New York City. And it all really basically comes down to the fact that Chick-fil-A's WinShape Foundation has donated to causes dedicated to the sanctity of marriage. So it's just a thinly veiled, exercised attack on Chick-fil-A because of its religious views.
Why do you think, after you read the story by this left-wing nut, why does it bother him so much? Why does it bother anybody that a private business would be very successful and open up all across the United States, and especially in the Sodom and Gomorrah of New York City? Why does it bother him so much?
You know, I think they don't want to be reminded of it because they have guilty consciences. They know, you know, if you're a Bible believer, and a lot of these, you know, lefties are raised, you know, up with the Bible, you know, they're taught that homosexuality is a sin, and so they can't really find any way around it. So when somebody exercises their beliefs in the Bible that, you know, homosexuality is a sin, it just they don't want to hear it. They want to live in a little bubble world and shut the rest of us up.
Is this, in your opinion, Rachel, another of the many attacks that are getting bigger and more frequent against Christianity in general?
I think so. I mean, it seems like you can't even say anything negative about LGBT or you get attacked. And you're not just a florist or a baker now. I mean, they're coming after anyone who says something like that. You know, those of us at the stream, we get attacked. Michael Brown is having his videos demonetized. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, nobody's safe.
You know, I have the story and some of his injections as far as calling Chick-fil-A a creepy infiltration of New York City. First of all, it's a legal, respected business. It's not an infiltration. It's not like getting cancer. It's not like having a Soviet satellite nation right in the middle of New York City. It's not a creepy infiltration, but he treats it as such. I mean, what's in this guy's mindset, and what should we do to overcome this type of thing?
Yeah, you're right. The language doesn't fit, especially when you consider the type of corporation Chick-fil-A is. You know, they're very good to their people. Parents love having children work there because they teach them good values.
Yeah.
You know, they're closed on Sundays so kids can do their homework. And I mean, it's the opposite. It's the antithesis of a cold corporate culture. You know, I think what we got to do with people like this is we just need to fight back. And, you know, we did at the stream. We had a whole bunch of articles we wrote. Mine was just one of several that came out about this article.
Now, I have always said on this program, and I make no bones about it, and I will never back up, that I am a strong Christian in my faith, and I absolutely am going to insert Christian values on my program. We have, on various occasions, like Christmas and Easter, invoked many pastors to come on and talk about both of the histories of Easter and Christmas on our show. I will never back up, and I think we need more of it. I think the best way to approach this man that wrote for the New Yorker magazine is to just put it in his face and say, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we need to be bold, and we need to challenge him, and we need to stand up to the bullying, because that's what it is bullying. It's just, remember, when you speak out, you become a target, and so we all have to stick behind each other and support each other, because you know they'll find another target after Chick-fil-A, and it could be one of us.
I think what they're looking for, and Rachel, tell me if I'm wrong. When I say they, I say the other people of this author's ilk. They're looking for cowardice. They're looking for a retraction. They're looking for a backing up. They're looking for apologies, and we must never give that to them.
No, because once you cede an inch, then they want more. They never end. Their ultimate goal is the eradication of Christianity. And if you talk to some of the far leftists, you know, they'll actually be honest and admit it. But we've seen this pattern in the past. I mean, I remember, what was it, that clerk in that Midwestern courthouse who didn't want to certify gay marriages.
Right.
You know, she backed down, but they still won't leave her alone. They're just ruining her life as a result.
There's the key, though, and somebody of your capabilities of writing, you should maybe do a series on this as to why Christians should never show a weak step. I mean, they need to advance forward, never back up. In other words, don't take two forward and one back, because that's going to hurt the entirety of what this problem really is. The problem really is, in my opinion, the putting Christianity into a closet and locking the door. I think that's what these people want.
Yeah, and I really like your idea of writing about, why we shouldn't back down. But, right, their goal is to scrub us completely out of the public sphere. They want to be able to walk anywhere, including in churches. They've even, trying to stop people from preaching from a pulpit.
Yeah.
They want to stamp us out so we're nowhere accepted in the privacy of our own home.
I have said on this program, and I want you to elaborate on this, because I think you and I have discussed this in past programs. I am not saying all. I do not want somebody to misconstrue my statements, but I have said many of the ministers and church leaders have become cowards because they're afraid of the liberal left. How would you respond to that?
That's absolutely right. You don't hear much meat in a lot of their sermons anymore. And, my dad was pastor of a small church, and, oh, my gosh, the things he did. I had to, go through and read the law just to keep my dad on the right side, because my dad's got guts. But these other pastors, right, they're kowtowing, and we can't have them do that, because once they give an inch, they're just going to take more, and they're going to use it as a precedent, to shut down other pastors when they can get some pastors to cave in.
You have the power of the pen with the stream, and Chick-fil-A, the organization, the ownership, and what they've done for various and many, many communities all across the country, providing incentive programs for their employees and also helping with various charities. I will stand behind them 100%. What are your thoughts about Chick-fil-A, the way it was started and the way it's grown, and what they hope to achieve?
Yeah, they donate to, homeless centers that need food, and, they were started on kind Christian values. You treat people well, you treat your employees well. If a customer says thank you to an employee, they're instructed to say my pleasure. So, I think this is the example of a corporation we want and we need, and I think it is so important that people like you with your bully pulpit behind the radio and my bully pulpit with a pen, I think it's incredibly important that we stick up for them, because if we don't stick up for Chick-fil-A, they're coming for the rest of us next.
I get an opportunity every day on this program to absolutely display at the center stage the incompetency and the idiocy and the lack of respect people like Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City, has when he even proposed a boycott against Chick-fil-A for coming into his city. I find Bill de Blasio to be one of the most despicable people in the United States. What are your thoughts?
I'm right there with you. Here's a corporation that's done nothing but good, and, they want to associate it with, child molesters or, something horrible, and try to keep it out of their city. I think it comes down to these people don't want to be reminded that these founders donated to the sanctity of marriage, and that's the one thing that just drives them nuts, and they become very oppressive because they want to stamp out all reminders that the Bible says homosexuality is a sin.
Well, not only that, but let's go a step further on this. When does it say, or where does it say, that Rachel Alexander can no longer think for herself and form her own opinions on various subjects, i.e. the same for me, Zeb Bell, or anyone else? If I were raised, and I was, in a very strong, strict German Lutheran home, we have different things that are values to us, and I'm not going to change, and I would dare say the same for you. I am not going to fall in lockstep with the very evil left in an acceptance of policies that I find wrong and I'm not going to change.
Yeah, and you're right when you say that they're trying to get you to change the way you think, because look what they're doing to our kids in the schools. You know, kids get in trouble if they, you know, have a contrary opinion on the LGBT agenda. You're not allowed to speak out against it. So it really is trying to change the way people think. It's very Orwellian. And again, you know, people like you and me who are raised different and have a strong foundation, you know, the burden is on us. You know, the burden is on us to fight back, because there's not a lot of people who have the guts to do it.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute. You said something that they're not allowed. Right there, that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because, no, that's wrong. They are allowed. Everybody in this country is allowed free speech in the First Amendment. And I will absolutely not let somebody tell me that, on campuses there have to be certain free speech zones, or you can't say this, or you can't say that. Baloney. I will say, you will say, everyone has the right to say where and when they want to, free speech on any subject.
Well, that's the way it should be, but as we all know, you know, those former bastions of free speech, academia, you know, they're one of the most hostile to free speech now, and I'm sure you see all the incidents that happen regularly around the country where children get in trouble if they say anything that goes against the LGBT agenda.
Yeah, but there is the problem. I'm so glad you brought that up, because if they say anything that goes against that agenda, well, there you go. We're going to speak out about it because I don't believe in it. I'm going to speak out about it because it was wrong 20 years ago. It should be wrong today. Everybody's a sinner, but when some people keep casting their sins in front of everybody and saying, I'm going to do it anyway, how can they call themselves Christians?
Yeah, I mean, you've got people on both sides claiming to be Christians, but, you know, we've got the Bible on our side. And
Amen.
They can ignore it all they want, but, you know, they've got a false sense of Christianity if they're trying to, you know, say that LGBT is promoted by the Bible.
I think what everybody should do, and tell me how you respond to this, if you get somebody to call or write, maybe you could encourage them to go to their local Chick-fil-A and buy a gift certificate and send it to this author of the New York Magazine article and make him feel welcome at Chick-fil-A with a whole bunch of gift certificates he can pass out to his friends.
Oh, my gosh, that is hilarious. Just thinking, what would he do with all those gift certificates? He can't use them. He doesn't want to give them out to his friends. So, I don't know, does he donate them to a homeless shelter? That is hilarious.
There you go. Let's do that. Hey, we've got a caller with a question for you. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air.
Well, it's kind of a comment. You know, every day I get up, and I know that I have to do my best, because the opportunities that come my way can be blessings if I seize those, if I'm not distracted, if I'm my ambition level is to the point where I'm able to take advantage of all the blessings. We create, you know, if everybody sees the blessings or the opportunities that they are given and they seize them and make the best of them, you know, ambition level, lack of distraction, and we create a miracle. You see, we have free will. We've got to get up and make something happen. We can't wait for somebody else to do our job. And when we create a void, guess what goes into the void? Evil.
That's right.
Sloth, whatever it is. And so, you know, the country will not be saved unless we save it. I'll hang up.
I appreciate that. Rachel, respond to the caller, please.
I only caught the second half of what he said, but it sounded like the gist of it was that we all need to stand up for what's right.
Right. Absolutely. You are doing that through your excellent articles, and I want to compliment and commend you to keep on going and fighting the fight. Rachel Alexander with the stream, thank you, and don't let anything slip past you. Just keep on writing, and I'll keep on putting you on the air.
Awesome. Thank you, and God bless.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel Alexander, and writing about the absolute idiocy, and I'm going to use that word, I don't care, about this guy, Dan Pipenring, who writes for the New Yorker magazine, and he was absolutely against Chick-fil-A coming into New York City. He called it a creepy infiltration of Christianity. Ay, ay, ay. We all need to stand up. Don't weaken to the left and the evil. Don't weaken to it. Stand up and look them right in the eye and keep marching forward. Oh, my goodness. Let's not forget, too, some really, really fine people, and that's Hanson Mortuary, and they're located at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving you. And I mean that as far as serving, because when there's the passing of a loved one, they are there. They are there to help and comfort and take care of all the details with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please call them. Find out more at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward. And Joel also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Thank you very much. Oh, and our friends, Dr. Bill and the whole crew at Ark Animal Hospital, they say, come on, we're going to help your dogs and your kitty cats, your roping steers, your horses. I mean, it's a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them and treat them all. Ark Animal Hospital. Dr. Bill and the crew. And don't forget, your pet's going to be roaming around, and make sure that you've got proper identification for all your pets, and Ark Animal Hospital can help you with what you need. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn, and they do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Really, really good people. Hey, Wheels, over at our station, could we have that good word for Bob Nonini?
Bob Nonini, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. A principled conservative, successful small business owner, legislator, and leader in Idaho. Bob Nonini has earned a 100% rating from the American Conservative Union and received an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association. Bob Nonini, Idaho roots, conservative values, proven results.
Hi, I'm Bob Nonini, and I'm passionate about becoming your next Lieutenant Governor. Being an Idaho native, I grew up understanding the values of hard work and dedication. I believe education is the key to growing Idaho's economy and being prepared to tackle the challenges of the future. Parents having the right to choose how they want to educate their children is crucial. Idaho needs strong leaders who allow their faith, experience, and integrity to do what is necessary in creating a better life for our residents. Experience matters. Experience counts. The choice is clear. Idaho needs Nonini on May 15th.
Paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor. R. Scott Hogue, Treasurer.
And thank you very much. Don't forget to vote for Wayne Shank, Minidoka County Commissioner, District 1 on May 15th. Wayne has extensive agricultural and business savvy and has been involved with the Minidoka Highway District, Planning and Zoning, and the Minidoka School System. There is great opportunity in Minidoka County for future planned growth, and of course, Wayne Shank wants to help. Vote May 15th for Wayne Shank, Minidoka County Commissioner, District 1, Leadership and Vision, paid for by the committee to elect Wayne Shank, and that's Stephanie Merrigan, Treasurer. We got a lot of political news that's going to be going on for the next couple of weeks, so I want everybody to be aware. Great people running for the various positions. And another one of those great folks is our dear friend, and that's, of course, Mr. Fred Wood, representative of District 27. He wants to continue serving you and your family, and he's asking for your vote on May 15th. Re-elect Fred Wood, District 27 representative, on May 15th. Fred Wood, integrity serving you, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer. Okay, we are going to move right around the corner right now and talk to our dear friend Miss Vicky momentarily. But while I have just a quick minute, I want to remind you about all the good things that are going on over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with Jeff Bronson and the whole crew. Woo-hoo! They've got all the new window coverings. Oh, I tell you, they've got them all. And they've got all kinds of great recliners and love seats and sofas. They have just absolutely an endless supply. I mean, when it comes to recliners, stop in there and talk to them today. All the recliners for short people, tall people, skinny people, and people like us. Anyway, you stop in and visit with them today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, located at 459 Overland in Burley. Spruce up for springtime at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. You stop in and see them today. Right now, to the phone line we go, and here is the lovely, vivacious, great personality, always caring and sharing lady, Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden and Paul. How are you?
I'm just fine, Zeb, but you really need to find a switch on this wind. I've had it.
Well, aren't you a cranky hanky this morning?
Yes, I am.
You know what? I made this...
in this miserable wind out unloading trucks, and I'm really tired of it.
Well, I'm sure glad that you had this opportunity to vent your negative emotions right on my ear set.
And the funny thing is everyone that walks through that door here at the store has the same opinion.
Well, now that we've got all the pleasantries out of the way...
There we go. Now, let's figure out what we're going to do when the wind quits blowing so we know what to do for spring.
I'll fall over.
Yeah.
You know what I said the other day is really true. The wind was blowing so hard here. Remember that Monday where they had the wind warnings out of up to 50-mile-an-hour gusts? I was out feeding my steers, and honestly, a gust of wind hit me, and I tipped over. So from now on, when I go out at night, Deanne makes me tie orange flags on my crutches so when I tip over, she can find me.
There you go. That works.
It does.
Once the flags blow away, then you're in a world of...
Oh, my golly, I hate this, and I don't chase my hat real well.
No. This is ridiculous.
It is.
We have these winds occasionally, we do have them, but not every other day.
Let me ask you a question before we get rolling this morning. Why would any plant with any sound mind, body, and thought, why would it want to stick its neck out of the ground in this kind of weather?
That's exactly it right there. The problem is you get those couple of days of nice warm weather. You get it, like Sunday was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it warms everything up, so everything tries to do its little growing thing, and then it kind of sticks its head up and goes, that was a dumb thing to do.
Well, really, how much does it hurt and or even kill these plants?
Well, the wind is really tough on things, especially newly planted things, because it beats them quite badly. And it can loosen the roots in the ground, as you see when you have trees, and especially when trees are starting to push foliage. The wind hits them a little harder, and they have a tendency to tip over.
Oh.
But basically, it can if it's in sand and the sand gets to blowing, it can cut like new plants. Like if you've got peas up or something like that, it can literally cut them off right at the ground.
Wow. And
it can blow them out of the ground. When that dirt gets to rolling and gets to blowing, and that's the sad part about some of the. A lot of the farmers will tell you that a lot of fields corners will get blown completely out of grain and beans and those kind of things.
Yeah. So what are you telling people today at Vicky's Country Garden? Holy cow, we were optimistic that you betcha, get your gardening needs, plant all your plants, but now look out, hunker down, don't do anything for a couple days, right?
Yeah, we've got a bad one today. Then it's supposed to start getting decent again, not necessarily terribly warm, but the nights are going to quit freezing. Tonight's going to be a cold one.
Okay.
So if you've got anything out that's like if you've got stuff that has come up, or if you've got, God forbid, you've got tomatoes or anything like that planted, get some cover on them, because it's supposed to, when this wind goes down, as we all know, it's going to get cold. It's supposed to hit about 27 degrees. Fruit trees that are blooming could get nipped tonight. So some people will take and string Christmas lights in their fruit trees to just put that little tiny bit of warmth out to keep them from freezing.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Why not put the Christmas tree lights up? We had snow yesterday.
That's true. It was snowing. I know. We was out in that, too.
You know, I've known you for a lot of years.
It's a bad deal.
I've known you for a lot of years, and I know your personality. And I'm glad that I wasn't around you with a tape recorder yesterday.
You probably would be real glad.
Oh, boy.
I got another truck coming this afternoon. My greenhouses are so full of all of the loads of fruit trees and all of the shrubs and stuff. We've had 2 loads in, and they're stuck inside greenhouses.
Oh, my.
Today I have another one coming. So I'm loading those into horse trailers and into covered trailers.
Oh,
to keep them
my.
out of the wind.
Oh, my. Well, now, listen, what do you want people to know? Here we are. We're looking at April 17th. Is everybody behind, or what's going on here?
No, everybody thinks they are, but we're not. I mean, I always tell people, just calm down because you've got plenty of time. It's going to quit this, and it's going to warm up, and then we're going to get really warm. Plants will do better if they're planted when it is warmer because the ground temperatures are warm. They don't struggle in it. So as of, right now it's basically your cold crops that can go in, your seeds that are in the ground. Hopefully they'll stay there, and onions, things like that. But right now for this next week, I wouldn't even think about putting anything out like tomatoes or anything like that because we've got a lot of snow on that old mountain up there, and as long as that snow's up there, we still got some frost coming.
Yeah. What do you, when you get everything organized in the morning and you're talking about all the different planning and everything, what about you got a new shipment of perennials in? Explain that to my audience.
Yes, we brought in, this is the time of year when we start bringing in our perennial flowers.
Uh-huh.
And every week we get at least 1 to 2 loads now of the stuff that is ready to go out now, that is blooming and looking nice. It, by the way, is in the greenhouses too, so the wind doesn't eat it to death. But once we get past these windy things, you can put the perennials out now. They really add a nice bounce of color, and they're there. A lot of people don't understand the difference between a perennial and an annual. A perennial is one that you plant and it comes back every year.
I see. Okay.
An annual, you plant it every year.
I see. I'll bet you even today your tough little pansies are saying, "Get me out of here."
Yeah, they're hunkered down pretty tight, I'll be honest with you. They're kind of sitting out there on that thing going, well, here we go again.
Right. Hey, one thing we got to look forward to is, and it's not that far around the corner, it's May 13th, Mother's Day.
That's right. We do have Mother's Day coming, and the baskets are getting to where you can, we've got color in them now. You can come in and kind of take a look at those baskets and get them tagged if you're wanting them for Mother's Day, so you get the colors you want. If you've got planters that you're wanting planted up for Mother's Day, now's the time to come in and talk to us, get them in line, so we know what we've got to do and what we've got space for and that type of thing.
Okay.
Because we do a lot of custom planters for people.
Okay. And
we've also got a really nice gift line here. Some real fun things. Got a new shipment of that coming in again this afternoon or tomorrow, whatever the wind blows in. But it's a lot of our yard art and stuff like that that's going to be coming in the next couple of days. So we've got a little bit of everything, but it's a good time to get in and kind of get an idea of what you want. We've got some really neat hummingbird feeders, things like that make nice gifts for Mom and Grandma and that type of thing.
Can you imagine those little birds? They're on their way here right now from down south, and they're probably, with their wings going 157 miles per hour, are saying, "Wait a minute, hold up, dudes, we're going the wrong way."
I don't think there's a bird out there that can fly into this. I mean, it's getting pretty intense out there right now. So I just, for this week, they're talking, we're going to have cool temperatures, and the nights are not supposed to keep freezing every night. Then by the weekend, it's supposed to be quite nice. So just kind of sit back, drink another cup of coffee, and go, I'll just kind of wait until the weekend and see what we can get planted at that point in time, because we just need to give this weather a chance to get itself straightened out.
If it will. Now, let me ask you this. Wouldn't it be also a great time that if things are a little slow right now with the planting, maybe this is the time for people to come by and talk to you about maybe, some increasing the value of their yards with some outdoor refurbishing, whether it's rock or doing something to coordinate a better-looking lawn, that type of thing?
Oh, you bet. It's a great time because we aren't as busy and we can spend more time to be able to help people design yards, flower beds and things like that. But that's definitely a way to increase the value of your property and make your neighbors envious of wishing they had their yard looking like you do. Products that you can put in your lawn that keeps your lawn nice and green. There's lots of ways of maintaining a yard without having to do a lot of work in it, a lot of chemicals. And if you're interested, just stop by and we can help you understand how some of the chemicals will work in your yard. We've got all the weed mat to put down if you are doing new landscaping where you keep the weeds down and in around your plants. And we've got bark and rock and the whole bit in here to finish off all those projects.
Vicki, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I did have a question that was sent to me via the email to Zeb at the Ranch, and I was going to hold it until the weather got a little better, but I think you've touched on it. Maybe we could touch on it now. A lady had written in, and she said, Zeb, would you ask Vicki, how safe are chemicals to use on the garden and the lawn if you have some kind of a health problem? And she didn't elaborate on the health problem, but I thought I would ask you.
Well, the chemicals are basically safe. They just recommend, like anything, if you're sensitive to chemicals and that, always wear the protective clothing. Long sleeves, put on some good gloves, goggles. If you have respiratory problems, wear at least some type of a dust mask or something so you're not inhaling any of it. But as far as the chemicals being dangerous, they're really not. It's just some people are more prone to allergies, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. If you wear the protective clothing and that, usually you're pretty safe. Or, there are the guys that will come around and do that all for you. They know their business. They have the good chemicals to put down. They do it. You stay in the house and watch them.
Okay.
And that's if you have problems, that's sometimes your safest way, is to have your lawn sprayed for dandelions, have them put the nitrogen down, the fertilizers, the weed killers, that type of thing, and then you don't have to get into it.
Okay. Now that you brought up lawns, I wanted to ask you, we talked about this last year. I noticed that on certain areas, small areas on my one part of my lawn, that there is a discoloration. There is a different type of green. Is that fungus already growing that you talked about last year?
Sometimes it's called, if it's in a circle, it's classified as fairy ring. And it gets to be real dark. It's a real dark green.
Are there going to be people dancing on my lawn late at night?
That's right.
Okay.
Probably are. But the one thing you want to do is go in on those kind of things and take a hard rake, just a good solid tooth rake, aerate that really good, open it up. Don't fertilize those areas.
Oh.
And get them some air down in there, and then get a good fungicide going on those spots. And usually that will start to clear it up.
Oh, okay.
It's a tough one, but it will, with a little effort and a little work, just don't fertilize those areas because that just spurs it on.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll be sure and not do that. Anything else for this morning?
Berries not to fertilize it either.
I knew you'd hit it. Atta girl. What else as far as Vicki's Country Garden tip for this week? You got anything special you want people to know?
Just put your stampede strings on your hat.
There you go. I appreciate and respect that.
Yeah, it's just, like I say, when the weather does get decent, just start doing your preparation work. Get your compost in your gardens, get it tilled in. The ground should be about the right moisture to do some good tilling. Get your fertilizers and your compost and that type of thing in. Get prepared so that when you do plant, everything has a good chance to come up.
Okay. Now, 21 years in business. Wow, that's something to really be proud of.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, most people would have gave up by now.
But not Vicky.
But no, not me. I don't have. I mean, got to do something for the rest of my life. So
absolutely,
I figure they'll probably plant me out back here one of these years.
Well, just don't blow away.
For sure.
Okay.
Hang on.
No.
Yeah, we've been in business 21 years, and we've got great customers that have kept me here for 21 years. And I enjoy the job. I enjoy my customers to no end. I'm friends with a good percentage of them, try to be, and we're just here till I leave. I can't tell you how long I'm going to be here, but I'll be here as long as I can keep going. I said I can get pretty much everywhere in a wheelchair here, so I should give me a motorized wheelchair, and I can still chase around this place.
I'll tell you what, Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul, the only garden center that has a windsock out in the front yard.
That's true. I'll guarantee you. And it's a flapping, let me tell you.
Well, Vicky, you're always a delight to talk to. And again, 185 South, 600 West of Paul, what are your hours over there?
Well, we are in here 9 to 5 on Monday through Friday, probably 9 to about 4 or so. If our cars are here, we're still here. But it's on Saturdays, it's usually around 10 to 4. Or 9 to 4, I should say, and then we are closed on Sundays. We will be opening on Sundays towards the first part of May when things get a little more conducive to planting. But and if those hours don't work, all I got to do is call me, and I can wait and load bark or whatever for them if that helps out.
Okay. I want to say how much it's always a fun time to visit with a very nice lady, Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. God bless you. We'll see you next Tuesday.
All right, Zeb. Have a good one, and don't fall over out in the wind.
Look for the orange sign. Okay, thank you.
Them flags.
All right.
If you see him, go rescue him.
Go pick me up. All right. Thanks, Vicky. God bless.
See you, Zeb.
Oh, I love that lady. Vicky's Country Garden over on the Burley-Paul Highway. Absolutely a nice lady. Don't forget Let's Ride. Woo, yeah. Get out and enjoy some great, great outdoor times on a four-wheeler or side-by-side from Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4, and they've got all the accessories, and they've got a super service department over there, Tyson and the crew. These are good, smart, knowledgeable people. And all you need to do is just stop in today because they can help you have fun. This is where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 over by Rupert, and the number to call, 436-4771. Wheels, would you do me a favor, old buddy, and play us a good word about Representative Fred Wood?
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here's Fred's views on education.
Seb, education is the basis of a skilled labor force that keeps our economy vibrant and growing. In the last 4 years, the legislature has increased new funding for secondary, professional, technical, and higher education by more than $100 million per year, ensuring an education system capable of meeting our future workforce needs.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Oh, thank you. Let's go have a weather forecast right now. If it hasn't blown away, my goodness, it's windy. The weather brought to you this hour by our friends at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. And today being tax day, I'll bet you a lot of them are sitting there going, whew, we made it. Well, I'll tell you what, the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and so much more with our friends that really serve you. And I'm talking about Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company with offices in Burley and Rupert. You, your family, and your business, get a hold of them today. Right now, here's the weather forecast.
Hold on to your hats because it's going to be another windy one. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a high wind advisory for today. Going to last until about 9 o'clock tonight. Mostly sunny skies, however, with a high of 47. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, increasing to 30 miles an hour by the afternoon. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies, low of about 29. Still going to be breezy. Hopefully those winds are going to be dying down just a little bit. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, relatively calm. High of 56, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 37. By Thursday, clouds are rolling in, bringing upon it some precipitation, possibly. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 60. And then for Friday, as we kick off the weekend, mostly sunny and a high of 62. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
And thank you, Gina. She always does a great job for us. Thank you, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And I'll tell you what, they really work hard for you. I know, because that's where we go, Leiden, Crane, and the crew. I'll tell you that tax time is a very serious time, and you got to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. They do the job. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. As I said, providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years, with offices in Burley and Rupert. I've got time for a couple of calls. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, call me right now. I'd love to have you. Don't forget, Lori Likely is running for the Idaho House of Representatives, seat 25A, and wants your vote on May 15th. Lori is part of a fourth-generation ranching family and native Idahoan, and believe me, strong roots, stronger families, and stronger communities. She knows about the various things that are going to make Idaho bigger and better. Paid for by the committee to elect Lori Likely, Bill Likely, treasurer. Okay, your turn. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let me see what else is in the news. Oh, Jacksonville, Florida. I've got to get this story on real quick. There was a store in Jacksonville, Florida. Listen to this. And a city inspector walked into this business, and her name is Melinda Power, and she got right smack dab in the face of the store owner and said, "Take your military flags off of your roof. They've got to come down." What? Monday, this woman, Melinda Power, went into the store and issued a written warning citation because she said military flags flying on the roof were in violation of the city code. The rooftop display included 2 United States flags, a Jacksonville Jaguars flag, and a flag representing each branch of our military. Well, then all heck broke loose, because according to employees, this woman, Melinda Power, walked up to a veteran that was in the store, and she got in his face and said, "Those flags are coming down." And he said, "Ma'am, I'm a veteran, and I absolutely shop here because they respect our being a veteran, and they respect the United States of America." And she said, "What did you do for this country?" And he said very calmly, "I took 3 bullets to the leg. I almost lost my life for America. I'm retired and I'm a veteran." And she kept getting in his face and said, "You did nothing for this country. Those flags are coming down." Well, this is where an oops comes in, because the city heard about this, and they are scurrying like little rats to apologize and make things right. And I can tell you, as of this part of the controversy, the flags are still on top of the roof, and they are not coming down. Can you imagine getting in the face of a veteran that was shot 3 times and saying, "What did you do for this country?" There are idiots out there that should not be in positions of power. And this woman, Melinda Power, her last name, should not have her employment. Right now, I want to remind you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 over in Rupert. Yes, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more. All you need to call and make an appointment at 436-4424. They are dedicated and responsive to your needs, so please get a hold of them today. The best working for you and your family and your business. Cameron and Siemens Insurance out in the other room. If you'd keep it down a little bit, I'd appreciate it. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. That number again, 436-4424. Caller, real quick. I've only got 30 seconds. Go, please.
Hello again. I just want to briefly say that Trump had not won the nomination. Out of those 16 other contestants, is there any one of them that could come close to doing the job that President Trump has done?
Right now, I would say I doubt it, and I respect your call. I got to run to this next little segment, so thank you, Keith. Thank you very much. And right now, it's time for this word for Tommy Ahlquist, and then Wheels will take us up to CBS News. Anyway, we want to say good morning, everybody, and welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and a big spring tire sale going on right now, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Don't forget, Kent Searle wants your vote to become District 3 Cassia County Commissioner on May 15th. Kent Searle, lifelong resident of Cassia County, has the experience of being a farmer, the service to you as an EMT and first responder, and has gained your trust serving on the Ag Advisory Committee and the Gateway Powerline Committee. Kent Searle says, together we can make Cassia County even better. Kent Searle for District 3 Cassia County Commissioner, May 15th, and Dan Gammon, the treasurer. One other real quick note that I want to highlight here before we go any further, and that is with our dear friend, Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. And the reason, Dr. History can tell you I'm kind of stumbling and stammering here because I can't get my papers separated. And we're off and ready. There we go. Scott Bedke, State Representative, District 27, Position A, also Speaker of the House. And he urges you to go vote in the primary election on May 15th. Scott's very concerned for Idaho, its growth and prosperity, and he wants you as a American citizen to urge and stand up and do your patriotic duty and go vote on May 15th. Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, and of course paid for by Representative Scott Bedke of Oakley, District 27. Sarah Bedke, treasurer. Right now, without further ado, we say good morning to a dear, dear friend, and one of the most listened to segments that we have on this program, Dr. History. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Listen, you're a little guy. I mean, what do you weigh, 145, 50 pounds?
52.
What county do you anticipate flying into this afternoon?
Well, it was rough getting here this morning, but I can guarantee you, I probably won't even have to start my pickup to get home.
You can just kind of turn the wings out and land.
Yeah, just open the doors.
Yeah, just. I don't chase my hat well, and I've lost it a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on hysterically or historically? I should say.
How does buried Spanish treasure and dead people sound?
One sounds real good.
Okay, well, let's just move ahead then, all right? Okay, so there's a guy named Zacharias Whitlow, and he was digging, and he came across some bones, human bones, all right? Yeah. And at this point, I want you to picture this guy digging, and at last he had found what he'd been looking for, all right?
Okay.
He's a 50-year-old man, and he had used history to arrive at the final conclusion. Though he had not yet seen a piece of the metal, he knew it was there. The unknown murdered man was buried on top of the buried treasure.
Now, where was this?
This is down in New Mexico area.
Okay.
So what happened was, Zeb, is the Spanish, they would have the Indians help them get all this gold. They would put it into bars. Then they would take one or two of the guys out and bury the treasure. Then they would kill the Indian and put his body on top of the gold and then cover it over.
Well, wait a minute. This Indian, did he know he was going to meet his demise?
No. He just was a happy worker for a while. Till he
pay wasn't real good, was it?
He marked the spot.
I see.
So anyway, picture this. This Whitlow guy has found the treasure. Now, it would soon be dark, so wiping the sweat from his forehead with a bandana, Whitlow rose and finished shoveling out the bones. And from the 5-foot-deep trench cut into this hillside, before the bones were fully exposed, the shovel made contact with some metal bars. The last few pounds of dirt were removed by hand, revealing the stacked bullion. Now, the bars were about 3 inches in diameter, about 8 inches long, and he picked one up, and he actually took a look at it, of course, and the bar, he would guess, assayed at better than 50% gold, because back then the smelting process wasn't real good.
I see. So they had a mixture?
Right, yeah, a mixture. So anyway, the old smelting methods had not been able to remove all of the other metals, but there was silver and gold bullion in this cache, and he knew that he'd found the mother lode, basically.
Wow.
So, Whitlow didn't even suspect that glowing dark eyes watched him from another hillside.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Whoa. He was in danger.
He was being watched, okay? A short-barreled rifle in the hands of one of several men were watching his every movement.
As he was digging.
He
was all by himself.
Yeah. Well, Whitlow shoved the small bar that he'd found into a pocket, and he retrieved his shovel. He intended covering the treasure for the night, but he never started. A bullet hit into his right shoulder. Bullet number one.
Number one.
Throwing him off balance against the wall, he dropped the shovel, trying to stay on his feet. Bullet number two, a second one, hit into the left side of his chest.
Oh.
More bullets around hitting around him all over. Okay, so he crawled downhill behind the protection of a wall and realized that the would-be killer was firing from a hill, and as long as he stayed down, he wouldn't be hit. Okay.
Now, he's hit twice.
He's hit twice now. Yeah, not in good places.
No.
So, anyway, finally he took a little breather and tried to figure out his best route of escape. Now, again, he's bleeding. Okay.
Yeah, well, imagine that.
So he didn't try making he actually had a little rented adobe house across from a place called Chilili Creek. And I never even heard of that.
Don't ask me about that one.
I'm thinking it's just a tiny, tiny little place. Okay. But anyway, this little Chilili Creek was kind of a Mexican village.
Yeah.
But the rifleman, he figured surely had come from this little village.
Okay.
Or riflemen. But anyway, he managed to get to his shaky feet. He hunkered over to remain hidden while trying to move. Well, in the hills 3 miles beyond was a guy by the name of Norman Coombs. Okay, now this guy's going to play an important part here.
Never trust Norman.
Norman Coombs. Okay, he was a young cowboy. He was on the job. He was helping watch some cattle out on the range. Now, Whitlow realized that Coombs probably represented his one chance for help, and this is like 3 miles away. Okay, so Whitlow was forced to stop and rest every so often because obviously he was getting weaker. But after that, he stumbled into the small gray tent where Coombs was living while he watched the cows.
Okay.
Now, Whitlow's wounds were bandaged as well as possible in this camp, and his arm was placed in a sling to protect the shoulder. But an hour elapsed before he felt up to much talking, and here's what he said. He said, "I found the gold and silver." This is what Whitlow said to Norm.
Maybe he shouldn't have said that.
Well, no, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
And he said, "It's in the place I told you." So obviously these two had been friends before.
Friends, yeah.
Yeah. So Coombs he pulled out the bar, and Coombs looked at it, and he says, "Yeah, it's gold."
Yeah.
And then he says, "By golly, you sure enough did find some old Spanish treasure." That's exactly what he said.
Okay.
Now, when Whitlow tried to continue talking, the cowboy said, "Now you just lie down, you just kind of rest, take it easy." Well, before dawn, Whitlow was dead.
He died of his wounds?
Yeah. Well, he's hitting some pretty vital spots there.
Well, yeah, but I thought he was having a good conversation.
Well, by morning, he was gone.
So they didn't help him at all?
No, this Coombs guy did all he could, to try to bandage.
This is just like those Saturday morning serials where the commercial comes on and says, "We'll be right back." And that's what we're going to do.
Okay, let's do it.
We
right
have
now.
to do that.
Okay.
I want to remind everybody about Jim Patrick, State Senator, District 25, and he wants to say thank you to everyone who has supported him in the past, and he's asking for your vote on May 15th. Get out and vote on May 15th and let your voice be heard. Jim is a 40-year farmer and 20-year bank director, and he fully understands business issues and the growth of Idaho, and also understands all about our water issues. Don't forget, he wants your vote on May 15th. Jim Patrick for State Senator, District 25, paid for by Jim Patrick for Senator, District 25. Also, real quick, don't forget Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox home comfort system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another way to make you feel comfy. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit their website at ramseysonline.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, back to the shooting of the gold digger.
Okay, so Whitlow is dead. Coombs had no problem packing the body out on a horse to the ranch where he had worked. But anyway, he started back to his camp, and he felt sure that some of the villagers had done Whitlow in. He was pretty sure of that. Well, Coombs was absolutely certain the villagers combined to wipe out all trace of Whitlow's presence among them. The cowboy knew the exact spot where Whitlow had excavated, and he went there, but the open hole had disappeared.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, the cowboy went to where the digging was.
So he found it. Okay. So Combs speculated on how he could get the treasure out without being shot, too, because he knew that he was going to be watched as well. Now, this guy is 19 years old. He'd grown up on a Texas ranch.
This is the cowboy.
The cowboy.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, we're going to go back to Whitlow, give you a little more background on him before he got killed.
Yeah.
Okay, he had not been a prospector and was not a Westerner. He'd come from a New England college where he served as professor of history. Okay. Now, Whitlow talked freely about the hoards of gold and silver that were buried all through the region following the Spanish occupation. So while researching some old manuscripts he found one clue after another, so he kind of had a pretty good idea where some of the bullion and the Spanish gold had been buried.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was back in, when it was gold, was buried back in about 1608.
Really?
And as I mentioned, the Spanish would kind of force the Indians to work for them to get the gold, make it into gold bars and
they
stuff.
were cruel people.
They were. And like I said, when they got enough and they wanted to bury it, they'd just have a guy go out with them somewhere, dig the hole, bury the gold, shoot the guy, and put him on top of the gold.
Why did they do that? I don't understand that part of it.
It was kind of a legend or something that the Indians would not dig up a dead person. So if they knew that there was a dead body there over the gold, they would stay away from it.
I see.
They wouldn't go near it.
Oh.
So anyway, like I say, they'd been.
Would you?
No. Well, I don't know. You know, the natives had been put to work, like, say, mining the gold and silver. The ore was cast into bars. Those were stored. A little of the gold and silver was probably removed, but most of it actually was buried for safekeeping.
Really?
So the Spanish actually didn't take that much. So there's a lot of it still buried down there somewhere.
What time do we leave?
Well, 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, but the other thing the Spanish did, they would disguise the place where the mines were. They would seal them up and hide them. So they would be hard to find unless you knew pretty much exactly. And that's where Whitlow came along, because he studied some historical documents and he kind of figured out where some of this was.
Now, historical documents from the conquistadors?
Yeah, from the Spanish.
I see.
Yeah. So, anyway, stories of the great wealth have been around for years. The treasure was put away in the usual Spanish custom. Again, a selected man dug the pit, stored the bars therein, and was killed and buried on top of it. The natives were warned that they should not go near this, or a terrible calamity would befall them. Now, according to some records, the mission church, there was a mission church that was built, occupied on a kind of a side hill. Now, Whitlow had discovered evidence placing this gold inside this old adobe church, all right, which was pretty much in ruins by now, all right?
Yeah.
So his evidence indicated that gold and silver had been buried inside the walls of this church, this old church, but Whitlow had come south from Albuquerque alone, and perhaps it never occurred to him that the peaceful natives would strongly resent his digging into the hill where the building had once stood.
Oh, boy.
He didn't think that through. All
Yeah.
right. So arriving,
And he was all by himself.
Yeah, all by himself. Yeah.
Whoa.
So again, another wrong move. But
he wasn't the brightest light in the fixture,
yeah.
was he?
But he arrived in the spring and he became acquainted with this guy Norman Coombs. And when the cowboy put in this temporary line camp, and they visited back and forth, and after trenching for a month, Whitlow reported to the cowboy that he had found the base foundation. Okay, this was kind of buried from sand and wind and stuff, and he'd found the walls. So he was on the right track.
So he found the old church.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
All right.
And the walls, 2 centuries before, had been partially torn down and covered, and they were at a depth of only a few feet. But that's where he encountered the cache of the gold.
Oh, my goodness.
And this is the gold that cost him his life. Well,
Yeah.
Combs felt certain that the natives had watched him carefully from the first day of his arrival. They had no intention whatever of allowing the gold and silver to be taken.
Right.
Because of the mystery or the bad blood. Or
Well,
whatever.
yeah, and one of their own was killed, covered up.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway, so after this, Combs felt compelled to make a try for the treasure, but he realized that getting it out alone would be almost impossible, and months passed away, and he kind of stewed and thought about it, he knew where it was, but he was a little nervous about this. Well, Combs ran into a former friend from Texas named King Algert. Okay.
Now we got another person in the fray.
Now we've got number 3 guy.
Okay, number 3.
He decided to take him into his confidence. Now Algert wanted to leave at once, and Whitlow's bar of gold was sold to grubstake their expedition. So they sold that bar of gold that was Whitlow's. The 2 men slipped cautiously into the hills west of the village and soon reached the site of the gold. They worked at night and slept during the day. One dug while the other hid on the above on the hill with a rifle. Just to watch.
Oh.
Okay. So
Yeah.
things are looking better.
I see.
Well, on the 4th day, an old man who knew Coombs and 2 boys walked directly into the camp. Well, Algert and Coombs were cooking a meal, and they talked with the villager as he prepared to leave. The old man asked, "What are you doing here?" Okay.
Uh-huh.
Not good. And Coombs said, "We're hiding out." And he said, "We're heading south tomorrow." Okay.
Really?
Trying to, appease this guy.
Yeah.
And the villager said, quote, "More better you go now."
Oh, really?
Were his parting warning words.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, in considerable alarm, Coombs turned to Algert and he said, "We've got tonight only, and maybe not that. So, we need to, but a few hours. We're right on top of the gold." They knew where it was. They found it. Well, scarcely a darkness closed over the hills. They moved in with 1 pack mule. A few shovelfuls of dirt exposed the bars. Algert and Coombs examined a number of gold bars in the bright moonlight and said, "Let's go." So they each packed all the bars they were able to carry. Okay, the 2 men went to the mule, loaded them on the mule. All right, so you got this picture?
I do.
2 guys.
A picture of a mule.
Mule.
I hope I'm not looking from the south.
Okay, so anyway, as they were going along here, they had the mule loaded, and Combs stopped for a minute. He said, "I think I hear something."
Uh-oh. The plot thickens.
The plot thickens. And he whispered to Algert, he says, I saw something down there. And so they stopped for a few minutes, and they kind of listened and watched and looked. And Algert said, "Well," he says, "I don't hear anything." He says, so they started down the slope, and they had the treasure. And Algert actually knocked a rock loose, and it went tumbling down the hill, making noise.
No, clumsy
Algert, and a single shot rang out.
Uh-oh.
Then a half a dozen more shots rang out.
And they're shooting at Coombs.
And Algert, because they're together with this mule.
I see.
Okay. Well, moving back, Coombs waited until Algert reached him. They got together. They had started around a high point of the hill when Algert fell.
Uh-oh.
His partner had been wounded badly. Algert was helped onto the mule with the gold, and the men in the night the other guy, whoever was doing it, kept shooting and shooting at him. And anyway, jerking his 6-gun, Coombs began shooting back. Algert was wounded a second time, so now he's got 2 bullets in him. Coombs took a bullet in the left hip, the left thigh, so now they're both wounded. The 2 men rushed on for a mile or more.
Rushed on?
Yeah. As best you can with bullets in you.
Yeah.
So pushing on after daylight, the 2 men reached a place called Manzano, a little village, I think, Manzano. Yeah. Anyway, they were both still alive, but Algert died the next day. Now, Coombs suffered, obviously, from his leg wound. He went on to Albuquerque, where the gold bars were sold for more than $10,000.
Wow.
So that was, pretty good.
That would set him up.
Yeah. But it took about 4 months under a doctor's care for Coombs to get him better enough to where he could walk, basically.
Okay, now I'm trying to follow all this. Coombs originally was a bad guy shooting the first guy.
No.
Oh.
Okay. So Whitlow and Coombs were friends.
Gotcha.
Whitlow was the history professor.
And he got shot.
And killed.
But we don't know who shot him.
Coombs thinks it's the villagers.
Oh.
Okay. Coombs was a cowboy.
Uh-huh.
And Whitlow told Coombs where the gold was before he died.
And then Coombs teamed up with
Algert. So he and Algert went back and got some gold and were able to get away. Of course, Algert died in the process.
Okay.
And Coombs sold the gold for $10,000.
And what happened? Quick, I got a minute left.
Well, he got home. They think that they didn't get very much of the gold. They think that there's a lot of it still buried there, not only that place, but other places. And so...
And nobody knows where it is.
But this little town of Cholula is actually southeast of Albuquerque on the New Mexico state line, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And they're just pretty sure that there's only been a handful of this gold that's been discovered.
Well, what are we waiting for?
I don't know. Let's go to Cholula.
It's easy for you to say.
Let's go to Cholula.
So, and then whatchamacallit died, right, Coombs?
No, he went home.
Okay.
With this $10,000.
With $10,000. And where did he finally meet his demise?
He just lived to a ripe old age and went to the Caribbean and went on a cruise.
He rented one of those cruise ships.
He did.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. I had a little hard time following who shot who there for a while.
Yeah, who's on first?
Yeah, and what's on second?
Yeah.
I don't know what's on third. Anyway, Dr. History, thank you so much. I've got to get this good word in, and then we're going to have more at the bottom of the hour, so stay tuned. Right now, I also want to remind you about a segment that we have on Thursdays called Cache County School Days, and it's brought to you by 2 wonderful sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, with all the baby and birthday presents and the furniture and the clothing and the games and the puzzles and the toys, everything over there, including all the Cherokee scrubs. It's all there at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Along with our friends at the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888 for your outpatient surgeries to save you money. Call them today, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you on Thursdays at 10:10, School Days in Cache County. And real fast, before we go to our break at the bottom of the hour, don't forget Carl Hansen wants your vote May 15th to be your Minidoka County Commissioner. Carl has the leadership experience as a hospital CEO for 29 years, 18 of those at Minidoka Hospital. He's an organizer and a communicator. Carl Hansen wants to address the challenges in Minidoka County and help solve them. Don't forget Carl Hansen for Minidoka County Commissioner, paid for by the committee to elect Carl Hansen, Jason Gibbons, Treasurer. Well, right now, we're going to take a little break and send it back over to our main studio. And coming up next hour, we've got a gentleman by the name of Corey Kupfer going to be talking about trade agreements or the lack of. And that's coming up next half hour on Zeb at the Ranch. Don't you go away. But right now, Wheels is going to play this good word for Tommy Ahlquist.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you much and welcome back. I want to remind you about the Southern Idaho Living Expo. My goodness, it's going to be a ripping good fun time. May 5th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Nature's Nursery and Market at 120 East Highway 30. Don't forget, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're welcome to attend. No entry fee. There's going to be a lot of vendors, art contest winners, all kinds of food. Oh, it's going to be a fun day. And it's put on, of course, by our friends at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. May 5th, Southern Idaho Living Expo. Don't you miss it. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and we're going to be visiting with a gentleman that is an expert strategist and deal maker and business consultant, and he has a book called Authentic Negotiating. Good morning, Corey Kupfer. How are you?
I'm great, Zeb. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Corey, I'll tell you right straight up off the get-go, are you on a speakerphone? If so, don't turn it off and speak right into a handheld, if you would, please.
No problem. I'm actually on a headset, but usually that's... is this better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better, yes, and I appreciate that. There was a whole bunch of echo, and I didn't want to lose anything you were talking about. Thank you. Very good, Corey. I appreciate it. Corey, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, I'm glad that we pulled out of it because I would say this about most trade agreements. The United States has always ended up on the short end of a very dirty stick, and it seems like we do more to promote and help other countries than we do our own. Am I wrong? What are your thoughts?
Well, listen, I think that's been a challenge over time. The interesting thing about the TPP in particular, if you really study it, is that, like most trade agreements, it hurts some and it helps some. And I think that's why there's some pressure now on President Trump to reconsider it, because it's especially with what's going on with our farmers between the TPP and what's happening with China. They're getting hurt right now.
All right.
Where the pressure is coming from in terms of the U.S. interests.
All right, Corey, nobody, and I mean this, nobody is more pro-agriculture than I am. I grew up in it. I've been a part of it. It's been my mainstay of my life, and I'm 70 years old. But I don't agree with giving away the farm, literally, on trade agreements. Why can't we, through the Trump administration, have a hard nose-to-nose negotiation where it's going to be good for our farmers, but then good for everybody, both sides of the table?
Well, I think that's what President Trump is going to try to do. I think one of the challenges of that right now is that he came in at a time when the agreement had been pre-negotiated, and there are, 11 parties other than the U.S. who have signed on to it. So he's in a difficult position right now from a negotiating point of view because he's got to go back and renegotiate a deal, sort of retrade a deal. And, we may have views on why he's in that position, but practically it's going to be tough.
Okay, so then with your expertise, tell us what needs to happen for the good of the United States and still keep a somewhat even keel on the trading.
Well, so, there's an interesting opportunity here, depending upon how this goes, because if you look at what's happened with TPP, it's actually now what was approved by the other 11 countries is called CPTPP,
right,
which is the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trade-Pacific Partnership. Now, one of the big differences in terms of what they have all signed on to is that there are certain provisions regarding data security and intellectual property protection that have been left out. And those are provisions that definitely, as the U.S., we're always interested in because compared to some other countries, we have much higher protections on those things. Now, they have not been eliminated permanently, but all of those other countries have agreed to put them off and decide them at a later time. So I think that's a place where we have an opportunity to negotiate, to say, hey, listen, we want those provisions in that protect our intellectual property on that data security. They were part of the original TPP, and they have not been rejected by the other countries. They've just been deferred. That may be a place where we have some opportunity to negotiate. Now, I'll be honest with you, that's not, if that's all we get, that certainly will not be, close to the scope of the problems that, that Donald Trump and others have had with the TPP, but it would be some concession that I think is maybe more likely than some of the other ones.
Let me ask you about the countries themselves that are part of this agreement or supposed agreement. Japan, Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore, Brunei, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Mexico, Chile, and Peru. Now, out of those countries, I would say that Canada and Mexico, and possibly Australia, are ones that you could very easily negotiate with, I would think, but I'm not so sure about some of the smaller ones like Brunei and Malaysia, etc. What's it going to take to get this thing in effect so that, again, we can have a level playing field?
Well, listen, I mean, in any negotiation, like let's take a business negotiation, which I do a lot of, when you add parties, right, there's a bilateral negotiation versus 3 parties, 4 parties, 5 parties, you add complexity. And not only it's not 11 times the complexity, it's multiples of that, right? It's exponential on that. So it's challenging here because of the number of parties. It's challenging because the agreement, the other 11 are already aligned. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind, that because a lot of negotiation, the leverage counts, right? So do we have the leverage or do others have the leverage? And obviously, Trump's negotiating style has always been, I'm born and raised in New York. I've been a special negotiator for over 30 years. I've followed Trump pretty closely, being a New Yorker.
Right.
Trump's typical style is to take a very, very strong position in the beginning. We've seen him do that, obviously, by pulling out of TPP. We've seen him do that with China. We've seen him do that on DACA, for example. He didn't say, hey, we can figure something out on DACA. What he said is we're going to be out by X date in Congress. You should find something to replace it. So, this is his strategy, is to take a strong position. Now, that strategy either to, gain significant leverage or at least level the playing field. Now, that strategy will work to the extent we have leverage, at least in the short term, but sometimes it doesn't work. So what's the leverage situation? Well, we have to bring China into this conversation because one of the reasons why President Trump is getting pressure from agriculture, for example, is not just that agriculture would benefit from the TPP, but it's also that in this, let's call it a trade escalation for now. I'm hoping it doesn't turn into a trade war. China is targeting with its tariffs and sanctions farmers, including soybeans, are, for example, are a big target of what China has announced it would retaliate with. So what some people don't realize is that the TPP, one of the main benefits that we were hoping to get from the TPP was to counteract China's influence in the Pacific region. And, and that's one of the potential benefits. Now, when you add this potential, trade war, at least trade escalation of tensions with China, this is where the pressure comes in. So, the question is how much we will think it is in our interest with the changing circumstances with China to have the TPP countries and that alliance be a counterbalance to that, and the pressure that Trump might get at home. Now, listen, President Trump is not one that easily bends to pressure, which is what some people like about him. Some people have issues with him about, but it's going to be a factor. I mean, it's not surprising that it was Senator Ben Sass, a Republican of Nebraska, who, after a meeting with a lot of the Republican senators from the agricultural states with Trump, was the one who announced yesterday or the day before that the president had instructed Larry Kudlow, his chief economic advisor, and Ambassador Lighthouse, the trade rep, to reopen discussions on TPP.
Corey, let me ask you some naive questions about this circumstance because I really don't know, and I'd like to get the information. Is basically our trading value to these other countries based upon primarily agriculture, food to them, and conversely, when you look at countries like Malaysia, Vietnam, Brunei, etc., what is their trade capacity back to us?
Yeah, so agriculture is a big part of our potential exports and the benefit that we would get, and then obviously with a lot of the Pacific countries, there's technology and then less expensive products. Vietnam has become, for example, a huge producer, similar to what China used to be and still is, of lower cost goods that flood some of our lower cost retail stores. Now, we can have, a good debate on whether that's good or bad for the country, but, there are, people, lower-income people in this country who, benefit, and a lot of us, listen, any of us go into any of the big box stores, I won't name names, a lot of what they have are, cheaper foreign products. So, that's a lot of what is incoming, and the biggest, we have some other stuff that obviously we export, but the biggest single sector that would benefit from this, from our point of view, is agriculture, and whereas other industries make it hurt.
Okay, now, if you were appointed as the chief negotiator today to make a deal to re-implement or reinstate TPP, what would Corey Kupfer do to make this an equitable deal for all parties involved? What would you do?
Well, I'll start, with what I said before, which is, for me, the easier conversation, which is we definitely need data security and intellectual property, protections.
Right.
I mean, one of the biggest challenges we've had with various of these countries, and certainly China is not part of this, is the lack of protection for our intellectual property. The fact that goods are ripped off and reproduced, and there's not the kind of laws and protections that we have here in some of these countries, or the laws not enforced in terms of our intellectual property, so that our technology and inventions and branding is protected. So I think that there's a reason that was in there to start, and that certainly has to be a significant starting point. In terms of the other provisions of the TPP, really you'd have to go down industry by industry and take a look at, and listen, here's the thing we have to recognize. Negotiation, you can't get everything you want in a negotiation. There's always got to be trade-offs. So if we're going to help agriculture, we may need to, hurt another segment, and those people in that segment are not going to be happy. I frankly think, and this may be, a little, not inconsistent with your thinking or a lot of your listeners, but I actually think the concept of TPP was a good one, and I think counteracting China's influence in the region is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is easy. Listen, I study history, and every major power, every empire, every country that has been a world leader over history at some point has no longer become that, right? Whether it's, the British Empire, or we can go on and on. So, and that happens sometimes militarily, but sometimes it happens economically. And we are in a global economy, whether we like it or not, and China is becoming more and more influential. So for me, from a U.S. America first interest, if you want to use a Trump phrase, I think actually the TPP as a concept helps us, because I think the threat, even if it on a micro level hurts some industries, I think the threat of China as a competitive world economic power is much more important and much more risk to the U.S. Than it is from any of these other countries who are trying to align with. So I might have more flexibility on some of these provisions than you or maybe some of your listeners would ideally like, because for me the bigger picture in terms of the U.S. is the threat of China.
In order to get this thing passed through, and I've only got a minute and a half left, Corey, aren't all the parties involved maybe going to have to sit back on their hind pockets for a little bit and say, we'll take less if we can get this agreement to push through?
The answer is yes, because, listen, President Trump is not going to go back into this thing without some sort of concession. With the amount of anger and upset and saying this is a horrible deal, there's no way that he will go into this agreement without some sort of concessions. The question is how many, and will they give them up? And listen, there's benefit to these countries to have the U.S. in there, so I think we have some leverage, but we're far down the line, and there are a lot of parties, and that's a challenge.
All right. Tell me quickly about your book, Authentic Negotiating. Give us a thumbnail sketch quickly of what it's about, and where can people find your book?
Zev, thanks so much. So the book is the difference about authentic negotiating is that most negotiating trainings are about the tactics and counter-tactics to those counter-tactics. And my assertion is that there's a deep body of inner work you need to do to become a great negotiator. And if you get to the point of clarity, detachment, and equilibrium, that will serve you way more than some tactics that you're taught. And this comes from over 30 years of day in and day out practical negotiating experience. The book's available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and on Audible. And they can always go to CoreyKupfer.com. That's CoreyKupfer.com, my website, and get the book there, and also other information. And there's an authentic negotiating success quiz so people can get an idea of where they stand on the authentic negotiating scale. 11 questions. It'll take them 5 minutes.
Corey, I tell you what, I'm going to keep your name and number on file, and as we proceed down that trail of TPP, I'm going to call you to come back and converse about it. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
Zeb, I appreciate being on, and I'd be happy to come back.
Very good. Corey Kupfer, and the author of Authentic Negotiating, talking about trade agreements. And thank you for being on the program on this Tuesday. Thank you very much. Wheels, over at our main studios, would you please play this good word for Representative Fred Wood?
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here's Fred's views on health care.
Zeb, the American healthcare system is not sustainable because it is too expensive. I will continue funding more primary care residency positions to increase access to primary and preventive care. I will also continue to explore ways to decrease the cost of pharmaceutical drugs, a primary driver of healthcare costs. We must reduce healthcare costs.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Right now it is time for our weather forecast, brought to you by our dear friends Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my goodness, delicious meats for you and your family, your friends and neighbors. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, or give them a call at 324-7657. Delicious bacon and breakfast sausages and marinated prime ribs and smoked hams. The list goes on and on. Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Hold on to your hats because it's going to be another windy one. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We are in a high wind advisory for today. Going to last until about 9 o'clock tonight. Mostly sunny skies, however, with a high of 47. Winds out of the west right around 20 miles an hour, increasing to 30 miles an hour by the afternoon. Gusts as high as 50 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies, low of about 29. Still going to be breezy. Hopefully those winds are going to be dying down just a little bit. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, relatively calm. High of 56, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 37. By Thursday, clouds are rolling in, bringing upon it some precipitation, possibly. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 60. And then for Friday, as we kick off the weekend, mostly sunny and a high of 62. That's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. That telephone number, 324-7657. At Scarrow's Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrow's Meats. Wheels, by the way, quickly, I was going to take just a moment and talk to you. You went on a little vacation this last week. Tell us where you went.
I went to...
And by the way, can you turn it up a little bit? I'm having a little hard time hearing you. Go ahead just a little bit, please.
Okay.
There you
Is
go.
that better?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, so my mom, of course, with her job, she had to go to Portland for some business, and so we had the opportunity to go with her to Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And so it's been my first, well, it's actually been all of our first time to Portland. It's crazy, although my dad was a long-haul truck driver.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, we only ever stopped, through there when he was loading and unloading. So it was one of those things where we actually got to go, and we went and saw Seaside, so I got to go to the beach for the first time. That was nice.
Oh, boy, be careful of the current. You didn't go out on the beach, did you, where you might have been lapped up by the ocean and goodbye wheels?
No, actually, thank God it was actually raining there most of the time.
Okay.
It was still beautiful. I love nature, and it was great with how green everything was over there.
Well...
No, I knew to stay away from that ocean. I'm just like, no, I'm just going to put my feet in the sand, and we'll keep it at that. So that's what I did, and so it was fun. I mean, I could talk about it all day, but
well, I haven't got all day to offer you, but I will say this: it's good to have you back in the saddle, riding on the 3-hour range of Zeb at the Ranch, and we're glad to have you back.
Well, thank you.
All right.
I'm glad to be back. You can only be away from home for so long, and then you're like, all right. I need to get back home.
Amen, brother. Well, listen, I'm going to wrap things up, so we'll get it terminated here in just a second, so stand by. I want to talk a little bit about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a big, big, big spring tire sale going on right now for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever you need tires for. They've got them at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Be sure and stop in and check out all the great buys on tires, along with the great service of brake service. They are experts at brake repair. You better stop in and check that out. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and so much more at all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers roll into spring tire sale. Right now, we are going to say have a great day. Hold on to your hats. Boy, it's windy out there. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06. Another 3-hour program, Zeb at the Ranch, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. Here's this good word for Tommy Alquist, and then Wheels will take us up to CBS News.